This is the year you move. This is the year you take that next step. Whether you're starting out, starting over, or starting something new, you need a local moving company that you can trust. We're Mankato Movers. We're your hometown moving resource, and we'll get you there. Call or email about our pre-move service today.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jay Deutscher here with I.C.E. We are proud to bring you this program this week. I.C.E. stands for Inspire, Collaborate, and Encourage, and is our collaborative podcast we produce weekly. Each podcast is typically hosted live, but we also have it available for replay on our I.C.E. Facebook page and our I.C.E. YouTube channel. Each week, we interview a guest or guests that we felt had an interesting story to tell about our three key words: inspire, collaborate, and encourage. In 2020, we found comfort and knowledge both personally and professionally from the podcasts of others. Podcasts we watched were from others in our industry or business coach lifestyle individuals, but also from the general public or general people that just had a positive outlook on not only business, but life in general. We're excited to bring this to you each week at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on Thursdays, and we also have the ability in many of these presentations, such as today, for you, the viewers, to ask questions of our guest. So today's guest, I will bring in Tanya. Tanya's going to do the interview. Tanya, I will let you introduce today's guest.
All right. Today's guest is Julie Fredrickson. She's with J. Frey Consulting in Mankato. She's a member of my BNI group, so I've known her for a couple of years. She was one of the founding members of our chapter, and someone that I have really grown to know and trust. She's someone that I go to if I need some advice, and especially with marketing or anything like that. And she's just someone I truly enjoy being around, and she's a wealth of knowledge. So without further ado,
hi.
Welcome, Julie, as we take you in and out. We didn't have that one quite down yet. Thank you for joining us today. I know that we've fiddled around with the podcast before because we were figuring out StreamYard versus just going live and things like that, and been through this whole Zoom adventure this year. So tell us a little bit about your business and your rebrand and all that good stuff.
Oh boy, you didn't prepare me for this. Okay, so J. Frey Consulting was born in late spring of 2018. And boy, I could go for hours probably with my story, but basically my background was I've had over 20 years of some various form of marketing. That's radio, there's kind of guerrilla marketing in there. I worked a lot in music and did booking and events, and eventually obviously social media and digital. I've been kind of a workaholic my whole life. I was always that person who had a full-time job and a part-time job and was going to school and volunteering. And then we started having kids after I met my husband, and still wanted to be that person, but struggled with leaving this precious little thing at home or with a daycare. So really actively sought out the ability to work remotely and in a flex way. And this was a little bit before it kind of became known, let alone normal. I don't even know if it is normal yet, though COVID probably kind of pushed us into that. So I had this background in marketing. I had worked in the contact center industry, leading remote teams for about 4 years, and just had kind of an aha moment at one point that I should be in sales and marketing. And I definitely wasn't at the time. I was a supervisor of people who were taking customer service phone calls, but they were all working remotely. But I always kind of was a bad employee in a way that I always took those check marks that you have to complete in that 40-hour work week and just tried to complete them in as little time as possible. So I had this free time, which I learned later is more of an entrepreneur mindset, but I didn't know that for many years. But yeah, so I was always kind of a bad employee in that way, that I would usually move myself up kind of advanced pretty quickly in organizations, and then maybe got bored and moved on, and was efficient, which isn't the norm. So kind of have a passion for this flex work, remote work thing. So when COVID hit us in the US this last spring, and now this is a couple years now into my business, part of me inside that you can't really publicly say, but I'm going to here, it was kind of like, yay, everybody's remote now. It's normal. Like, I've never been normal. So here we are, kind of thriving. We do social media management for primarily small businesses that have an education piece to give. They believe it's definitely relationship marketing. We don't do necessarily lead generation so much as a lot of our clients are those who have recurring long-term customers that maybe don't need them more than once in a year or 2 years or 10 years. So we keep that kind of conversation going between their customers. So I guess that's kind of the long and short of it.
Yeah. And so you are going to go from J. Frey Consulting to...
Oh yeah, rebrand. So we've kind of announced, not officially announced. I kind of decided I'm going to officially announce in a different year. But
Gotcha.
We have decided on Captivate Social Media. So we will be branding. J. Frey Consulting was born with the idea that I was going to do marketing and social media consulting. And we do that, but it usually kind of comes with the territory with our clients. We spent a good 6 to 9 months talking to people and, having those pitches with clients. And most of them said, we just want you to do it for us. So we actually we do the social media management, content creation, and kind of took that on. So rather than saying that we're consultants so much, even though it's a natural part of the business, we're going to go ahead and embrace just the social media piece of it. So
Nice.
Exciting to get some new branding and colors and stuff designed. So.
It is. And it just shows the evolution of, where we were even at 2 years ago with starting in our BNI group and the growth that we've saw from different members. We've seen one person go to having 2 employees and having this really dynamic collaboration with another member. And you've done great things. I think for me personally, it's helped me in just my attitude and how I interact with people. And I'm doing things now that I never thought I would do before. So yeah, I think it's exciting that good things can happen even during COVID, and some of us can be excited about going online, even though some people don't like it.
Yeah. And just about,
Jay.
and just about, it was just over 2 years ago, because it was just before our chapter started. I remember sitting in a meeting with my last employer and being told that they didn't think I'd have because I had worked from home for so long, they didn't think I maybe had the personality or skills to network or do sales or that kind of thing. So isn't it funny how things happen over a short amount of time that things change?
Exactly. I see that we do have a few viewers on, so I would encourage anyone that's on, if you want to post a comment, feel free. If you have a question for Julie, feel free to ask that as well, and we'll try to get back to you. I'm going to go ahead and start with some questions, and we might go off on a tangent if we feel the need, or if someone asks a question, we'll probably just answer that as well. Tell us about a day in your shoes. I know it's going to be kind of crazy because you've got 2 little kids at home, plus your business, plus BNI.
It is, and it varies almost daily, sometimes hourly. Often my husband leaves pretty early in the morning for work. So often as he's walking out the door, I'm getting out of bed and getting things ready, which is usually just before the kids are up. My 5-year-old likes to wake up pretty early, but I usually have just about enough time to get a cup of coffee and maybe look somewhat presentable. You can fake it online these days with these filters, but most days I usually have a meeting pretty early, so over Zoom. Usually somewhere between 7:30 and 8:30, I have my first meeting, depending on the day, of course. But that usually they're an hour and a half, and then every morning about 9:30, my 5-year-old has a live lesson over the internet. She attends Connections Academy. And so we kind of hit schoolwork, and depending on the day, we might be in schoolwork for several hours with lunch in the middle. And if it's a different day, I might have meetings all day over Zoom. So it really kind of varies. Sometimes they're one-to-ones with BNI members or not BNI members. Sometimes they're trainings for either, I try to keep up social media, as you know, as changes
all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. So I'm quite often in trainings for that weekly. It could be trainings for, I just stepped into an area director role with BNI. Sometimes it's just our regular meetings. I'm president of our chapter, so it might be leading our BNI meeting. It might be visiting other BNI chapters. It might be, I'm an organizer for 1 Million Cups, so it might be something to do with 1 Million Cups. If I'm not in meetings or with my family, I'm probably working on a social media post or an email newsletter, or communicating with employees or contract employees, and or running through an idea I got spur of the moment, running numbers and dreaming about it for a couple hours, because I tend to be that person.
Are you still, speaking of running, I know what you meant, running in a different way. Are you still running at all, or?
Not nearly as much. I really took that up when COVID hit, just trying to get back into that, and went really steady through the summer, dealt with a few injuries, and in September, about mid-September, I ran the Vikings 5K, and it was the first run that I was able to do the whole 5K running my whole life. And I brag about that because 10 years ago in my late 20s, I was in really killer shape and I was running regularly, and I've never ran a whole 5K. So I was pretty proud of that. But it was kind of like I hit my goal, and then it's winter. Let's all let go, or I don't know what it is. I think we're all getting into holiday season mode or something.
Yeah, the change of seasons are always hard for me, especially like getting on a new schedule of getting up when it's dark, going home when it's dark.
Yeah. Oh, and that was a key factor, because my husband leaves at 6:30. So all summer I was able to, well, not all summer, but the early part of the summer deep into July, I was able to get up and go outside and run and be back before he ever had to leave for work. And now it's dark until like 8. And so I don't want to go out in the dark, and the treadmill's just not the same. I try to do it, and it's just, ugh.
I know, I'm guilty too. I need to get back to going to the gym regularly, and that's my goal for in the very near future.
Yeah.
So I have to get through this transition time of all the extra trainings that we have going on. So
health is important. Sometimes it's just hard when you don't see like results that you want, but
Right.
That comes with age, I think. Hate to give us away, but
let's switch gears a little bit. Tell me about someone who is a big inspiration in your life.
So I think when you asked me this earlier, I actually immediately thought of, and she's going to laugh when she sees this, but when I was 16, I was really into the idea of the music business. And I actually went on to get my associate's degree in music business, but the entertainment industry was really fascinating to me. Some random little girl in small town Minnesota, I just, it was like stars in my eyes. And I thought it was so cool. And I really would buy books to learn about the music industry and recording. And it's a whole different world today. But back then it was pretty normal to make money off of the albums you put out. And it doesn't really work that way anymore. But this was kind of pre-iTunes, or before iTunes was hitting it. So, but as I got into high school, and I've always been unconventional, but I was homeschooling, and I came across a Minnesota performer called Goldilocks. And I have no idea how we crossed paths. I don't remember. It's been 20 years. But I started working for her, and she had a sound studio up, I feel like it was just a couple blocks from Paisley Park. And she would tour with DARE, so the schools in the area, and I worked with her, and she was just so do-it-yourself and self-made. And there was something about that age for girls is such an impressionable time on what you're going to do and who you're going to be. And it was so amazing to me that she was able to do these things, but she was still she was from Minnesota too, which was just mind-boggling to me. But she was the type that would go to the antique store and find these pieces and paint them. And her, condo looked like a mansion, and she did it all herself. She made her own clothes. She did all the things, and she was just always like positive, get her done. And, I don't know if I've ever acknowledged it until you brought this up the other day, but I think I mentioned on my LinkedIn profile, a former supervisor from several years ago mentioned or did one of those reviews on me and said that I had a get her done attitude. And I got to thinking about it, that my mom has a piece of that in her, but I think a lot of that came from Goldie too. I just saw that in what she was doing. She marketed herself. She just had this, like, no matter what it is, we're going to get it done, and we'll just do it myself, and do it the best way I can, whether the finances are there or not, whether the time's there or not. You just do it. And she's still that way. I still follow her, and I'm still in contact with her. She went on to work for one of the big wrestling organizations, and then she still performs as Goldilocks and has a band down in, I believe, Nashville. But she just was really an impression on me at that time in my life. And I'm sure it just kind of brought out aspects that I'm sure I got from my parents, because, they're, of course, why I'm the way I am. But something about her just really stuck with me. And I so look up to her, because she's just a never quit kind of attitude.
That's awesome. And I definitely do see that in you. So that's
I think
awesome.
My husband at one point, I don't remember what the conversation was, or if it was meant to be a nice thing even, but I'm sure he said it lovingly. But he said something about being a bull or a bulldog at one point. And it sticks out in my mind only because I remember thinking, I think that might have been, or could have been, taken as an insult, but I really took it as like a compliment, because I just I set my mind on things when I kind of go after it. And I suppose in some cases that could be a bad thing, but I do.
Most of the time, good.
Most of the time, good. Yeah, I think he meant it as a compliment.
Share with us, what do you feel most grateful for in your life?
Oh, family, 100%. I've had a pretty cool family. Even growing up, like, my mom was, I don't know if she necessarily gets my entrepreneurial mindset, but she was very much, like, driven in career. She worked for the Postal Service, and she moved up, and she worked hard, and, made herself, I think, pretty well known in Minnesota. I was pretty young when she still worked for them, but, she retired when I was still young. I was kind of a surprise kid, but she really worked herself up and worked hard in that organization. And I think she was with them 30 years or something. And
Wow.
But my dad then he was an entrepreneur and came from parents who were entrepreneurs. When I was growing up, though, he was an employee, but prior to that, he had owned his own station, and they worked on cars, and so it was kind of before I remember what was going on. But he's always been kind of the constant level support. He's not the type, I think maybe twice in my whole life have I ever heard him raise his voice. So
nice.
He's kind of just that constant, always supportive, always like whatever you feel is best, kind of always there to rely on. My husband, it's funny because he comes from kind of an entrepreneurial family too, but they're very hands-on work, like build and weld. And I don't know, he's active on social media, but I don't know if he is more so initially really understood what I was doing. Not understand what I was doing, but it understood why I wanted to do it, maybe. But he's just been kind of consistent, supportive. He makes a regular paycheck. He deals with the ebbs and flows of being an entrepreneur, especially starting out. 1 month, there's no money. And the next month, everything's great. And then the next month, and with that, time is a factor too, right? Like one month it's, I'm working so hard all these hours because I need to make some money. Or the next month it might be, okay, I can breathe a little bit, but now I need to work hard because I have clients. And, sometimes it's early mornings, or if the kids are busy, then I'm working in the evenings. Sometimes it's weekends, sometimes it's not. There's no schedule, right? Like it's just, and feeling those things out and the sacrifices that are made there. And then my girls are still at ages that are just like precious. So they're still learning the things about people in life that you just take for granted, like sarcasm. Like my 4-year-old will say something sarcastically and laugh. And it's kind of one of those things where anybody else you laugh, but because she's 4, you're like, because she's learning, she's learning, even though it's sarcasm, she's learning she's a little human, they're learning the intricacies of communication and things. And I just think it's fascinating. It's kind of like, I feel like little kids are like looking at a sunset or something pretty, where sometimes you just have to stand back and appreciate it, something that you see all the time. And I feel like kids are a constant in that, right?
Absolutely.
Like, they're so excited about things that you're like, yeah, cool.
All right.
Like, look at this flower, has 3 petals, just that kind of thing. So I think they're pretty great. So definitely family. Absolutely.
Very nice. We're going to take just a slight break, and we're going to do the Mankato Mover speed round. It's where I give you a choice between 2 things, and you tell me what you think, and it's just kind of fun.
Oh, boy.
So Facebook or LinkedIn?
Facebook.
The big debate, apple or pumpkin?
Oh, pumpkin. 100%. Yeah,
Me too.
I'm a coffee girl, so pumpkin spice all the way.
Car trips or exotic trips?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know that I've taken much for exotic trips, so I'm going to have to say car trips.
Okay. Running or biking?
Running.
Okay. Chocolate or coffee?
Oh.
Chocolate in my coffee?
Well, yeah, that's usually how it is. I'm trying to think if I could give one up. I could probably give up coffee if somebody held a gun to my head. So I'll go chocolate.
Okay.
Here on ICE, we do not encourage anyone to use guns to get their favorite or unfavorite things. Just a side note of the production.
Well, then both. Because it would take violence to get me away from coffee, probably.
I've had to kind of give up chocolate, but I can't give up my coffee. I'm struggling with that.
Dark chocolate, like, yeah. And I'm not like one of those who drinks like several pots a day, but I need one good cup of coffee.
Me too.
I like tea even. I'm not an anti-tea person. I love tea. I drink tea all the time too, but I need my coffee. Yeah.
The real thing.
Yeah.
And helping or being helped?
Helping, 100%. I'm awful at asking for help.
That giver's gain mentality. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. What are the proudest moments of your life?
Hold on. Let's get some sponsors in here real quick before you think about that one, Julie, and we'll come back to you. All right.
Deal.
River Valley Dental, located in Mankato, Minnesota, provides their patients with the most current treatment using the latest dental technology. Dr. Tom Pooley and his team offer services ranging from general preventative care to restorative care. They are now offering cosmetic treatment paired with their med spa. At River Valley Dental, you are never just another set of teeth. You're a face with a name and a history, and it is their privilege to serve you and guide you to your dental goals. River Valley Dental, your smile, our passion. The Wow Zone Family Entertainment Center, located in Mankato, Minnesota, has 24 state-of-the-art bowling lanes, a 2-level laser tag arena, mini golf, video games, snack bar, sports bar, and a full restaurant. Bring a few or bring them all. The Wow Zone can fit them all. And Gracie B. Doodle is a new up-and-coming online store and social media group for the decorated apparel, design, and sublimation sector. From digital papers to sublimation blanks and more, Gracie B. Doodle is a great resource for the crafters or the professional shops. Online at www.graciebdoodle.company.site. Back to you, girls.
Great sponsors.
Absolutely.
Dr. Pooley cleaned these this week.
He's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
terrified of dentists, and I wasn't terrified of him. So
I get pretty stressed too about it. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's just one of those things. I think everybody does.
yeah. Proudest moments of your life.
Well, I'm a mom, so obviously the birth of my 2 daughters, pretty proud, life-changing, proud.
Absolutely.
And so probably leaving employment was definitely, I think it was more than that though. I think it was like the day that, it was kind of juggling. This was a side hustle to begin with, right? My company. So it was kind of juggling that and the full-time job and that, and kind of growing more and more unhappy in the job kind of thing. And I think it was the day that it saddened me that I need to quit the job. And I went to my husband, Trevor. I was like, I got to quit. But the proud part was that I was able to go to him and say, you know what? I got this client this month, and it will replace my income for the next, month and a half or whatever it was. I said, I have 6 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever it was. I remember it. Like, I can do this, but I need a full-time amount of time to work on it.
Right.
I have this long, it's make or break. And, made, probably again after that 5 to 6 weeks, it was like pride for a little bit. And then it was, oh, is this going to work? And I feel like that's maybe ongoing, but at least that first year and a half was kind of, yay, we're good. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work, kind of thing. But
I talk in a lot about in my groups a lot, like women in garment decoration, people giving them inspiration to try new things, this, that, and the other thing. How did BNI affect your ability to quit that job? Because I remember you going through all of this, and I remember the day that you came to BNI and you were crying as you were telling it that you were taking this full time, and I was just so proud of you. So as far as like taking that leap of faith, can you give any advice to those that are just like not taking chances because they're too afraid?
Oh, I don't know if I'm the best one for that advice. I wanted it so bad that I was like willing to take the risk, even though, family, and thankful that my husband has a full-time job and consistent income, but I don't think we could have lived forever on just his income either. But, at that time, so to bring in BNI, I would credit kind of made it for me. So this was 2 years ago, right now. So if we said exactly 2 years ago when our chapter was launching, I think we launched Thanksgiving 2 years ago. I had 0 clients 2 years ago today. And we launched Thanksgiving, and within a couple days, one of our members was my first client and still is. And that absolutely grew. There was a couple members that became clients, but I actually had one outside of even BNI, but still at that point, 80% of my clients were within BNI. And within 4 months of first client, I was able to take my company full time because I was able to replace that full-time income for that 5 or 6 weeks. So with a wink. BNI was absolutely the step I needed. Also, I talked a little bit earlier about how my dad was an entrepreneur and my husband comes from an entrepreneurial family, but I didn't feel like I didn't have anyone in my family who was currently in that. Right. So
right.
I didn't feel like when the things I was navigating, a lot of my family, well, obviously my family loves me, your family loves you. Right. So they want to caution you of anything that will hurt you, right?
Right.
But when you're starting a business, that kind of sucks, right? Like, that they care about you and that they want you to succeed, but they don't want you to get hurt. But at the same time, you really it's hard enough for you to have enough confidence in yourself. So I just really needed other people around me that were in business. And not only that, but those who were at different levels in business, those who were maybe struggling at times, but also those who were very successful and had been in business several years. And early on, Well, and now we have several members in our chapter who've been successful business owners for several years.
Right.
And so it was nice to kind of have those levels, those who were in the same situation.
Mhm.
I remember having a one-to-one with a member early, like within the first couple months. And we sat down and we were talking about his business and just life and, you know, trying to figure out B&I and what were we doing. And I remember him stopping and going, "Oh my gosh, you work full time too?" And he goes, because I had no idea when I joined this chapter that so many people in here were doing their businesses as side hustles, that they were working full-time jobs too, trying to make it work. And it was kind of there was, I don't know how many of us there were, but there was maybe a handful of us who
Yep.
were also working. I know you were one, you had a part-time job too, right?
Actually, I had a full-time job. And
when first started?
I had 2 full-time things going on.
Oh my goodness. And see, I didn't even know that to this day.
Yeah.
And it was kind of and I always kind of giggle when I say this word, but it was the tribe I needed. I feel like that's such a marketing word now, but it was, I needed kind of this tribe. Also, I mean, working from home, and I try to say remotely now, but I was working from home. My remote is home because we have children that I'm here caring for at the same time. And day after day being at home with children, while awesome and I'm grateful for it, I also needed that like occasional adult.
Right.
Or just conversation that had nothing to do with potty training or, you know, that kind of thing. So it was nice to kind of build that now again and build the friendships I have with you and Allison and Lisa and so many in the group, just building those relationships. I seriously, and I think I said this a couple times in the chapter, but whether I got business at this point, whether I was getting business from the chapter or not, I wouldn't leave because I mean, I would still pass business, but I appreciate the relationship so much that I would feel like and you know, we're Catholic, so I have a little bit of a guilt thing, but I would feel guilty to leave my friends, right? Like it's a thing. So I enjoy it. I look forward to it every week.
I do too. And especially this year with everything that's happened between health stuff and COVID and things like that, and making the conscious effort to be positive and try to give to others. That's what Jay and I said have gotten us through. And, you know, it's really nice when I wasn't even realizing it myself, like when you came to me and Lisa came to me and said that you've noticed these changes and would I consider doing this other thing, that meant the world to me. And so I'm really happy that there's been growth and positive things that have come out of this year. And I hope that other people will realize that if they take a positive attitude that, yeah, things might suck, but they're going to suck less if you're at least trying to find some things to be happy about. So.
Oh yeah. Well, you'll always find what you look for, right?
Exactly.
So if you're looking for a reason to be mad or to be upset, you're going to find it. Like you don't even need any luck about it. You'll find it. But yeah, it's fun. I just made a comment earlier today. I was meeting with another BNI member and mentioned how I talked to 3 different groups, I think all of them were today, but I talked to 3 different people today that had just incredible things happen since COVID hit. Like just actually 2 of them were bought out, which is like unheard of right now, right? But they were bought out, but they were still working within the company. So not only did they not have the pressure of their business anymore or thinking about exit strategies within the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, they had that retirement income there done, but they still have an income going, a salary, and they have kind of freedom because they're the former owner, right?
Right.
And then others just total revelations about their business that they've been focusing over here, but this is something that they really love and they can embrace it. And I just think it's so neat, the cool things that have come. And B&I alone, how great to be involved in an organization that was able to switch from in-person to online, like on a dime worldwide effectively, and able to support and education and just continue with those core values. I'm in awe of B&I and how they work.
I am too, because it could have, I know people have said it in the past, but they could have just said, nope, we're not meeting until things are all better. And I know that our business would have been hurt by that. A lot of businesses would have been hurt by that. And we want to help other businesses experience what we have. And that's even just in learning the core values: givers gain, positivity, recognition, things like that.
Mhm.
It just gives you such a different mindset in
Absolutely.
life in general.
I was just really impressed that they embraced the needed change,
Mm-hmm.
because they're very much an organization that's built on a process, right? An
Right.
agenda. It's timely, it's
Mm-hmm.
this, and this, and they have processes and accountability pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and they've always been strictly in person. But
Yep.
when presented with an opportunity is what I would call it,
Mm-hmm.
but when presented with adversity, like you said, even if they didn't say let's just wait it out, even if they just said let's assess for a couple weeks, because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like the whole world did that, right? We went,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is only going to be a couple weeks.
Right.
Okay, well, it might be another month. Okay, well, here we are, what, 7-8 months later?
Mm-hmm.
Are we that far? I don't even know what day it is
I don't
anymore.
know. It's been
It's been
since
a lot of
March.
days at home. But they overnight. And mind you, they saw it coming because we're worldwide, but just wow. Like, they could have said, this is not part of our tradition. This is not how we do things. There are online options out there. We're not going, and they didn't. They just said, okay, let's dump, I'm sure,
Let's do
money.
Zoom.
Yeah, but think about I can't imagine how much money they had to put into
Right.
it, and manpower to pull things off within a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we all know that it didn't necessarily 100% take effect with everyone, and get so many people on board with it.
Right. There were people that we had to kind of pull along, and some people still don't enjoy it.
Well, there's still people struggling with it all over. It's just
right. But again, it's the way you look at it. You're gonna get out of it what you put into it, and if you try and stuff like that. So
absolutely.
I personally love it. I know that you love it. It has opened up a lot of doors for us, which has been extremely nice. So yeah. I just have a couple more questions, and then I don't think we have any questions, but might talk just a little bit about LinkedIn for a minute. How do you want to be remembered?
I struggle with that. I'm a Christian, and I have kind of this part of me has this belief that, like, it's not important if I'm remembered. But at the same time, one of my little ones is going to come in here. At the same time, I enjoy being remembered as, like, dynamic and helpful, and a mom of this little goofy girl. Say hi.
I love her.
Say hi.
Hi.
Go back out and get daddy. But just as someone who was always willing to help, I think we all kind of like to think about being remembered is probably good enough, but part of me, I struggle with that a little bit with my Christianity. It's just, that could be a whole nother conversation.
What does your future hold?
Oh, I hope so much more of the same, really. I'm kind of happy, content, I guess, if you will. Obviously, the girls will get older, and now my 5-year-old's going to want to come say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Obviously, they'll get older, and I hope they continue to be awesome. I think we'd like to purchase a bigger home, or, you think about the maybe not so important things, but the things that are important is that my girls are happy and intelligent and, supported and thriving, and know that they can do pretty much whatever they want to if they can think it up. But also in business, I would just love to continue, meeting more new companies, helping them, but also growing our staff. I would love to get to a point that, there was, I don't know how much I talked about it. I feel like I've been rambling, but there was a point that I thought, gosh, there's got to be a way that I can make an income and be home with my kids, right? Mm-hmm. Without it affecting like a phone call or, there's a lot of remote work out there, but you're mostly answering calls from customers, and there's no background noise that could be identified as home life that can be involved. There's got to be a way that I can work kind of when it's okay for me. I remember I struggled so long about, they say, oh, work when they're napping. Yeah, right. Like they never nap consistently and they don't stay. Oh, but work after they go to bed. Yeah. How many times has your kid crawled into bed with you and then you don't sleep at all? It's that kind of thing. I just wanted something that could be flexible. Right. And I think we've created that. Our staff can, as long as it's basically deadline based is our work. So as long as it's done before it needs to be done, you can do it a week ahead of time. So I want to provide that for people because I can't be the only one that was struggling with. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be who doesn't necessarily want to take on the whole feat of starting their own business. Right. I want to provide employment like that. That's just flex. I respect you as a person, as an adult. I trust that you're going to do your work. I don't expect you to punch a clock on a certain time kind of thing. I think there's got to be a better way, or I know there's a better way now. But with all that's transitioning right now, I mean, the country is just, there's so many things. I think it's probably the best time as ever to scale and be able to offer that opportunity too. Now that everybody's kind of gotten a touch of that remote work.
Well, I think, Inspire, Collaborate, and Encourage came about because of the health problems, but also because of COVID. We were online constantly talking to different groups. B&I was online. We were doing happy hours, getting to know people better. And that has just helped us out immensely. And I think that your story is definitely inspirational that it can happen. Even for the garment decoration industry, there's a lot of people that are doing it from their house or just a one-man shop or whatever. And then some like us that have employees in a brick and mortar location. And to let people know that, it's okay to dream and to put yourself out there. And sometimes it takes collaborating with others, whether it's in a structured B&I group or a Facebook group like Christine Shreve has for the Women in Garment Decoration. There's some other ones out there as well. And that you can do pretty much whatever you set your mind to, but you kind of need to accept help from others or, gain inspiration from others too. And I think that's what I take away from B&I so much. When I started being a B&I member, I really didn't want to be. I've said that before. I was really happy being in the background. But as I took the first leadership role, and then took the year off, and then this year taking the leadership role, and then now stepping into some more responsibilities, I'm like, I can do this. And I face the fear because there's been a couple times the last couple of days where I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Or my head's going to explode or whatever. So my message to everyone is just try, reach out, ask questions. Tell us where you can be reached in case, any of those people that I'm going to share this with does want some help with their social media marketing, anything like that. Tell us where to reach you. And we didn't have any questions, so I'll just probably address their questions another way.
Sure. So right now we're still officially J. Frey Consulting. So it's jfreconsulting.com. Our phone number is 507-338-5373. I think it's 338 J. Frey actually, because I got kind of coy with that when I created it. So that won't change. So that phone number will stay the same. I'm all over social media, and I hear a lot from new clients. Boy, you get around, because we heard about you from somebody else who heard you about somebody else. And So you'll be able to find me. Contact
Well,
Tanya. She knows where to
I
find
know that you've made an impact with Christine at Women in Garment Decoration in the Women in Garment Decoration group, or Women Plus Business is her podcast. Because we talk about you all the time, and then Aaron Montgomery from the Two Regular Guys. So they've really liked and respected you as well. So that's awesome.
That's sweet. I've gotten this far without crying, so you try.
No, I won't. I won't make you cry.
I made it through talking about my daughters. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I so pleasure. Appreciate it. I know that you had back-to-back meetings today too, so.
Oh, that's Norm. I'm home. Like, isn't that's something to be thankful for? I'm home. That's all good.
That's amazing. So we're going to let Jay pop back on here and take care of the rest of our sponsors. Thanks again, Julie.
Thank you.
All right, we'd like to thank our sponsors for today's episode. Before I do that, next week on the show, we have Melissa Friend, or Missy Friend, a dear friend of Tanya and I's. For Tanya, they've known each other for, 60 years for Tanya, but only like 45 for Missy. But anyways, and she is with Auction Gang out of Des Moines, Iowa. So we'll be talking about the online auction business and picking and treasure hunting and antiquing and things like that. We'd like to thank our sponsors for today's episode. If you're looking to travel either remotely, domestically, or internationally, call Gianna Hughes at Travelooza and to book your next vacation. From weekends to resorts or cruises, Gianna and her team are ready and waiting to help you get back on your feet, headed for the sun and sand. Call 1-888-188-1888. Oh, jeez. 689-0660. It sounded like Julie trying to read her phone number. Or we have the Visual Identity Vault located in the heart of historic downtown Fairmont. TVIV is a full-service decorated apparel provider with screen printing, embroidery, sublimation, and more. Also offered are signs, banners, design services, paper-printed products, promotional items, and custom gifts. With 4,000 plus square feet of retail space with great deals for everyone young to old. TVIV also offers a variety of different fundraising opportunities for your groups needing to earn some extra cash for that special trip. Contact TVIV today at sales@tvivmn.com or online at tvivmn.com. And then lastly, Gemini Studios, the leading video production company in southern Minnesota based out of downtown Fairmont. Gemini Studios offers many services such as VHS to DVD transfers, picture scannings to CD, advertising, commercials, voiceover recording, educational and informational videos, and live streaming special and school events. If interested in any of their services, please call them at 507-235-5190. And that wraps things up for today. On behalf of both, I got to turn my camera back on, Beoth, that's a new word. On behalf of both, slow down and read, Jay and I, or Tanya and I, good gracious. You know what, folks? Thanks for joining us. It's been great having you. And remember to inspire, collaborate, and encourage with others in your personal and professional lives each day. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Have a great day.